The devil constantly tries to undermine faith in God. Sarah and Chris explain how the Garden of Eden illustrates the typical way the devil goes to work in our lives and our reaction to it.
So remember the story of Adam and Eve and the garden. They're given a word from God to eat from the tree of life, but not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And along comes the crafty one, the serpent, the devil, the tempter, and the very first words out of the devil's mouth are, "Did God really say?" So what was happening there, and what happens to us now, is that the devil wants you to look beyond God speaking and God's word for your life and sustenance. Did God really say? The devil wants you to call God's word into question and come up with a new way of thinking and living. Maybe improve on it a little bit. Think about, did God really say? And this is what we've referred to in this study as skeptic acid. Doubt, asking the big questions. Why, what, when, did God really say? You may have heard a very common phrase, think that you may be wrong. Think that you may be wrong. Did God really say? This is not faith. You cannot have doubt and faith together. It's very categorical. So it actually counters faith. These questions actually counter faith. And it is literally the temptation of the devil, because the devil does not have God's law. The devil does not have the gospel, promise of forgiveness. The devil only has questions, obfuscation, make it murky. And it is at that point, when that happens, that God speaking becomes a law. It becomes an accusation in our ears.
So Adam and Eve lost the peace and trust of the garden that it provided when they ate that piece of fruit. They were in paradise when they simply depended on God's word for all that they needed in this life. They had everything they needed because God spoke it. So what really happened when they bit into the fruit? They succumbed to the temptation of questioning God's speaking. Yeah, I wonder if God really meant what he said. God speaking became an accusation then, and this is how death entered the picture. So, what happens when they take a bite of the fruit? First of all, they become self-conscious. They realize they are naked, and then tapes start to play, and then they go hide. And they hear crunching of the leaves. Adam, Eve, where are you? Why? They no longer had promise in their ear. They had accusation from God's word in their ear.